So we're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is Adi Lila, chapter number 4, entitled The Confidential Reasons for the Lord's Appearance. And we are on the text. It's playing with it. Okay, so text number 27, 28. Okay. Hare Krishna. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Vita Chanda Jaya Gora Bhattavrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Vita Chanda Jaya Gora Bhattavrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chanda Jaya Gora Bhaktavrinda Jaya Advaita Chanda Jaya Gora Bhaktavrinda. So earlier we discussed the position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, trying to understand the position of Srimati Radharani. And then we talked about different rasas. That was the last thing that we did. 5 different mellows, different kind of relationship exchanges that one can have with Krishna. And today, let's see what we have today. Eshuddha Bhaktalana Lana Karimu Avatara Karibavi Vidya Vidya Adbhuta Vihara Vaikunthatye Nahi Ye Lilara Prachara Sisselila Kariba Yate Mora Chamatkara. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Taking these pure devotees with me, I shall descend and sport in various wonderful ways, unknown even in Vaikuntha. I shall broadcast such pastimes by which even I am amazed. Report. Lord Krishna in the form of Lord Chaitanya educates his devotees to develop progressively to the stage of pure devotional service. Thus he appears periodically as a devotee to take part in various wonderful activities depicted in his sublime philosophy and teachings. There are innumerable Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky, And in all of them, the Lord accepts the service rendered by his eternal devotees in a reverential mood. Therefore, Lord Sri Krishna presents his most confidential pastimes as he enjoys them in his transcendental realm. Such pastimes are so attractive that they attract even the Lord, and thus he relishes them in the form of Lord Chaitanya. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapatami Bhutale Svamirupakadam Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shukarakanam Shri Ram Vaishnavam Shri Pam Sarvajatam Sarvanaravitam Vitam Sajivam Sarvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Param Sarvanaralita Shri Shankha Vitam Shah Hey Krishna Karma Sindhu Dhamma Jagatpate Bodhishara Uttarakanta Alakanta Namaste Dr. Kamachana Gaurira Dhameshwari Vishwabhanu Sute Pranami Hari Priya Vanchakalpataru Vyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaya Vachapatitama Bhavanebhyo Vishnuvendra Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Sadguru Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. So discussing various kinds of mellows and pastimes that happen in the spiritual world. Now Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami points out that Krishna himself is saying that taking these pure devotees with me, I shall descend and support in various wonderful ways, unknown even in Vaikuntha. What does that mean now, that Krishna will descend along with his pure devotees? This is just like the pastime about which we hear, also described in Srimad Bhagavatam, about Jai and Vijay, the gatekeepers of Vaikuntha. Anybody knows how many gatekeepers of Vaikuntha there are? Can anyone guess? Huh?
I know.
Are you what?
I know about only two.
You know about two? Anybody else? How many gatekeepers of Vaikuntha? 7. How can it be 7? One is alone. Maybe the other one went somewhere for holidays or something. No, there are 8. There are 8 basic ones. Of course, there are so many others. There are so many gates in Vaikuntha. Each and every Vaikuntha planet actually is described having 7 different, how would you say, chambers or layers or places. So there's so many different kinds of gatekeepers. And of course, they have their own purpose, they have their own function. They prevent those who are not qualified to enter in any of those particular realms. So particularly those primary ones, there are 8, that means general entrance into Vaikuntha planets. Of course, we know all around there is Brahmajyoti, which is Krishna's effulgence. Krishna consists of Krishna's qualities. And therefore, sometimes even some transcendentalists can enter into the Brahmajyoti, but they have no access to the Vaikuntha planets. They have to qualify. So we've heard in different pastimes of Krishna like this, that there have been 4 Kumaras trying to enter the Vaikuntha planets, and there were Jai and Vijay. And now the whole story of Jai and Vijay being cursed and coming down to the material world. But what was the purpose behind? What is explained? That Krishna, or Vishnu, more precisely being there in Vaikuntha, he wanted to fight. He wanted to experience a little bit more of the chivalry rasa. But if he comes to this world, there's nobody who can match him in any way. Nobody can match him. Krishna just, desires or thinks about certain way of killing someone or just disposing someone, and it's done. It's over. But whereas in the spiritual world, those living entities, they're far more qualified than what any other living being here in this material world is. So this is what Lord Vishnu desired. He said, I wanted to fight a little bit, but then I cannot fight with this, puny human mortals. So let my devotees come and then present to me some good kind of chivalry rasa as such. So that's why that was the whole reason behind Jai and Vijay coming down to the material world, playing the roles of different demons, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Shishupal, Dantavakra, like this. So they came in this way, so that the Lord can enjoy that exchange with them. So here we also hear that taking these pure devotees with me, I should descend and sport in various wonderful ways. So Krishna comes with all of his, quite many of his confidential associates, so that he can have that exchange going on. Because we already discussed earlier, we are not the ones who can present anything or give anything really to Krishna that it's so satisfying. I mean, Krishna can be satisfied with our meager or insignificant offerings, but only to that extent that he's pleased that we are trying to do something. But that cannot really satisfy Krishna, because Krishna is perfectionist. Krishna wants 100%. Krishna wants everything. Krishna wants most perfect. So that's something where we absolutely lack. So that's why when Krishna performs his pastimes, he can enjoy having some pastimes with us, trying to do something for him. That's okay. But still, Krishna wants his confidential associates. And then this associate can provide Krishna so much pleasure. We also, I guess, mentioned earlier that Krishna is Atmarama. Atmarama means he is self-satisfied. He doesn't need anybody. He's satisfied. But in the process of satisfying us, that is also satisfying to Krishna. So that's why he interacts with us. And of course, having any kind of exchange, it's increasing that satisfaction. So there's never a time when Krishna is not satisfied. He's always satisfied. Just being alone, he's satisfied. But when he interacts with others, he becomes even more satisfied. So therefore, these all different associates who are there serve that purpose to please Krishna. And that's their only goal, that's their only desire, that's their only purpose of existence. But in the simultaneous way, Krishna also desires to please his devotees. And he's doing so many amazing arrangements in pastimes, so many different things. We'll see, whenever we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we read even Mahabharata, we read anything where Krishna's pastimes, any scripture where Krishna pastimes are presented, we will see how there is some competition going on. Krishna doing so many wonderful things for his devotees. And of course, his devotees doing so many wonderful things, trying to please Krishna. So that's why taking these pure devotees with me, Krishna descends along with them. And actually even more often, those devotees descend before Krishna, setting up the scene, preparing everything. So that when Krishna comes, there already can be pastimes going on. It's not that Krishna now has to wait. It's like we have entered this hall and some things have been set already. We didn't have to wait to set for having something going on online, and laptop and book and speaker and whatever. So then there's no waste of time. Immediately some particular program can go on. So then what he's saying, unknown even in Vaikuntha. So what are those different various ways? What are those various ways that are not present in Vaikuntha? And concluding, I should broadcast such pastimes by which even I'm amazed. How can we say Krishna is amazed? How can it said that Krishna is amazed by certain pastimes? Because this is what its uniqueness of the spiritual existence. Nothing's ever same. Nothing's ever same. Like we know Ramayana, for example. Mahabharata also, the different versions. Why there are different versions? Because every time there's something different, there's something unique, there's something special as something more deeper, something more exclusive. It's expanding, nothing is static. Like Srila Prabhupada says, spiritual life is not static. Spiritual life is ecstatic. But why is it ecstatic? Because it keeps on increasing. There's always something, it's very dynamic. It's very dynamic. There's never a point where one can say, okay, I've reached this much and that's it. And now I realized everything, I understood, I grasped it. No, one can never claim this to be so during spiritual practice. There's always more, there's always more. So these are very amazing pastimes. And then another reason why they're amazing, and why is it mentioned here, that it's unknown even in Vaikuntha, because in Vaikuntha, again, those realms are limited by certain exchange, that it's only till the point of dasya, that means servitorship. There is a Shanta also, distant veneration, awe, appreciation, and then there is some servitorship, but it's very remote. There's not too much closeness there. There's not too much closeness there. But when we see it, when their closeness happens, then those pastimes are extraordinary. They're really amazing. Like in this world, we know about saying familiarity breeds contempt, no? It's quite often, I don't know, at least. Everybody heard of that saying? Huh? Heard? No? Familiarity breeds contempt. What does that mean? We lose the respect. We lose the respect. See, that doesn't happen in Vaikuntha. Because everybody has an awe and reverence, awe and reverence. Shantarasa, there is always respect because there is distance. Just like I was saying, we were going to the schools. I was in southeastern Andhra Pradesh, and we were going visiting different schools, making announcements, trying to inspire kids to get Bhagavad Gita and anyway, basically Bhagavad Gita. So then notice that long time back, but it's like if you spend too much time with children, they become very casual, sometimes even offensive. So many nonsense things come out. So many anarthas, so many bad qualities, so many things in the course of time. But if you just spend brief moments with them, they'll be all like, wow, very, very respectful, very respectful. So we were always making sure that we are up to the point in a very, as much as concise time, and disappear from there. Because it's a psychology. It's a psychology. It's like, they know this very well in advertisements. That if you want to make an impression, then make it fast. And you don't have to explain it fully. Because then the mind will wonder, what is it? 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 And it will create deeper impression rather than you keep on explaining and becomes boring sometimes or whatever. Then you lose completely, you don't get the strong impression. So therefore we were like very brief, and we kept that distance also. Kept the distance. And the effect was much greater. Just like a few days back, there was a chief minister coming to this temple. He does the same thing. Within 10-15 minutes, everything was over. Everything was over, He came inside, took darshan, sat down, spoke for less than 5 minutes about his program, went to Tuladan, sit down, everybody was running, 10-15 minutes, everything over. Because if he would have stayed longer, people would start finding faults, start thinking this, that. That's what happens. That's what happens. Our conditioned mind is like this. Our conditioned mind is like this. So that's why in Vaikuntha there is no chance of that. Of course, there is no chance in a sense that nobody can compare to Vishnu. But there is a chance, of course, you can do that even in the spiritual world in a sense, but then you fall down if you criticize Krishna. You lose the respect. And this is why also Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, he explains that actually in that mood of Shanta, that distant relationship from Krishna, we fall down to the material world. We lose the respect and we become attracted to material energy. You're not attracted to Krishna anymore. So it's a very dangerous position in that sense. So we should never lose respect. I mean, I was just thinking, like in terms of any kind of relationship, it's absolutely important that there is a distance kept, a certain distance kept. If the relationship becomes too close, of course, this is on our condition level. Now we're going to come and discuss, that's not on the level with Krishna. When one becomes qualified, then he can become very, very close with Krishna. But then one really has to become qualified and pure. But when that is not the case, like I said, especially in the material relationships, I saw, what was it? Today I just scrolled quickly to news, just really briefly, and there was something about how people become, they they don't stay too long in relationships. They divorce or something like this. But there are some explanations. I didn't read any of this. But why? I think, why is it? Because there's no respect. There's no respect among each other. So the respect is such an important quality. It's such an essential factor in any kind of relationship. Respect has to be there. As soon as respect is lost, immediately there's fault finding, and there is no service rendered. There is no exchange going on, and definitely, what is the relationship going to be based upon? These are the principles relationship is based upon. If those principles are not cultivated, of course, there is a question then of relationship. Continuing. So that's why respect is so essential. So in the Vaikuntha also there's a lot of respect towards Vishnu. Of course, they have all the good reasons to respect Lord Vishnu, so it's way more qualified and way more important. And it's the epitome of everything that everyone in the spiritual world is desiring. So there's a lot of respect. And then there is not that closeness. That closeness is not there. But we see when we go higher, in a sense, higher in terms of different dealings and relationship, then we come to the absolute platform of Golok Vrindavan. It's incredible closeness there. And this is what it's not easy to understand. This is what we discuss here. This is the subject of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is such a intimacy that what we think is the most worshipable object, he worships someone else. Krishna is worshipping his devotees. He's putting Radharani's feet on his head. Somebody who is the most worshipable object. We can't understand how could he worship somebody else. But why is that? Because those all other living entities, of course, they're not ordinary. They're all internal energy or expansion of internal energy. They're fully sold out to Krishna. They have no reservation. And this is why Krishna can completely, surrender unto them, knowing that with them he's absolutely safe and protected, and is not going to be exploited. It's just that they're just fully dedicated to his service. Just like a child. I've seen so many times it happens. I was just recently also somewhere. Somebody would be handling the child, but child would be still restless until it comes to the lap of the mother. Then it's peaceful. Because it knows, it has the experience. It has the experience. It knows, okay, here I'm safe, protected, nourished, everything, whatever. So Krishna also has the same feeling, or it displays the same feeling when he's in very close proximity in dealings and having those dealings with his very, very dear and intimate devotees. And that's why Krishna surrenders. Krishna fully gives himself. But what is that? That is the power of bhakti. That is the power of bhakti. And that's why Krishna doesn't give that bhakti to anyone and everyone. That's why bhakti is so rare. Krishna will give you, he'll give you even Vaikuntha planet if you want, whatever, anything, so many things, but not the bhakti, because by bhakti you can control Krishna. You control Krishna, it means you control everything and everybody else. So for that one has to qualify. So for that reason, these particular pastimes are, even Krishna is amazed what happens. Krishna is amazed that that depth of love and exchange keeps on ever increasing. So that's why even Krishna is amazed. Not to speak of devotees. They always drew newer and newer rasas and pastimes and different dealings, from Krishna. So it's just it's an amazing, it's inconceivable to Krishna himself. So that's why Krishna is saying, when I descend, I will present those pastimes. And this is something again that even demigods, nobody can understand. Indra, Brahma, everybody, they become bewildered when Krishna comes and plays here. It seems like an ordinary human, an ordinary pastimes, but they're not. They're spiritual pastimes. They're spiritual pastimes, and Krishna is enjoying so much rasa from that. So then Srila Prabhupada explains, he said, Lord Krishna in the form of Lord Chaitanya educates his devotees to develop progressively to the stage of pure devotional service. We already discussed that earlier. This is the whole purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We discussed it in previous chapter. Anyway, that was long back. I don't know if anyone was there. How Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to personally teach us, to personally exemplifies who is a devotee, what is devotee supposed to do, what it means to be a devotee. Because we don't know anything. It's not just, by certain teaching we can only understand position of a devotee. No, there has to be an example. We know ourselves in any training, in any kind of learning process, there has to be practical application. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is personally coming, personally exemplifying what it means to be a devotee. So periodically as a devotee to take part in various wonderful activities depicted in his sublime philosophy and teachings. There are innumerable Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky, and in all of them the Lord accepts the service rendered by his eternal devotees in a reverential mood. Therefore, Lord Shri Krishna presents his most confidential pastimes as he enjoys them in his transcendental realm. Such pastimes are so attractive that they attract even the Lord, and thus he relishes them in the form of Lord Chaitanya. So the proof that these pastimes are way more relishable than what is going on in Vaikuntha is that Lakshmi herself, have we discussed about Lakshmi? Yeah. So Lakshmi herself, she wants to enter into the Vrindavan pastimes. So that's very amazing. So these are the most wonderful pastimes. And then if one is exposed, if one dives into such kind of activities, confidential, intimate activities of Krishna, then how can one be bewildered by any kind of materialistic activities? And there's no question of it. It's way more sublime and exalted taste from the spiritual activities compared to any kind of mundane dealings, which is just, as we know, perverted reflection. Perverted reflection. Okay, any questions on this? Anybody has any question on Krishna's pastimes? Yes.
I want to ask how to maintain respect.
How to maintain respect? That's a challenge, to maintain respect, because we always, it says somebody becomes very friendly to us, immediately try to take advantage. Immediately start thinking, I'm better than that person. Now there's a tendency, that's that conditioned tendency. As soon as somebody descends on our level in some ways, we immediately think, oh, this person is not as elevated as we thought he is. And we try to take advantage. And then we commit offenses. So it's very extremely dangerous. So that's why even in dealings with spiritual master will tell disciple where is the line. One can be very friendly, and spiritual master will allow that. But then if he sees that the disciple is taking advantage, then he will immediately drop it. Very, very, very strictly, very strictly. Or sometimes he will even send the disciple if he sees that he's not having the proper attitude. Because it's not good for a disciple not to have a respect. Because the respect one has for spiritual master, that means that's your respect towards Krishna. And if you don't have respect for Krishna, where is the question of spiritual life? So having or keeping that distance is very important. It's very important. One can come closer, but then one has to learn that art. If you learn the art, you can always be in association. If you don't learn it, there will have to be a distance. But you won't benefit so much. And and then even if you're in proximity, then it's like it said, you can be close to the fire, but you'll get burned by the fire. Because you won't know how to take advantage of that fire. So that's what one has to learn. I mean, I serve personally my spiritual master, and you learn a lot. You learn a lot, really learn a lot. But then it's not easy to remain in that proximity. It's sometimes a challenge. So one has to keep that respectful mood. So it's an art, how to be close, but also keeping some distance, always knowing where is the line. Because if you start committing offenses, then you're practically destroying your spiritual life. And that's not good for you, and spiritual master will know that's not good for you. So you'll definitely do something about it. So how to keep respect? Always by service. That's why usually what we do in ISKCON, we try to address everyone as Prabhu. No? Like some reverential address. Nowadays, sometimes it happens, they don't even call each other devotees by their names. They just say some kind of acronyms or something. It's like BK, YZ, this, that. Like it's like so. All kinds of things go on. So that's not good. That's not good. So it can be challenging, but usually, at least by keeping some form, even though it might seem artificial, but this will save us from losing any kind of respect, or keeping the respect. As soon as we lose the respect, we know we'll commit offenses. And as I said, being conditioned, we have that tendency that we consider ourselves always better than anybody else. But that's madness practically. That's a very deep illusion. That's enormous. That's a sign of enormous false ego. And false ego is the one keeping us in this world. Yes, okay, you can be the greatest and everything. Then you commit mistakes, and then you stay in this material world and just look for some kind of lava puja and pratishtha, no problem. So we always have to keep respect, no matter what it is. And if you're struggling to keep respect, then we should approach that person maybe that we are having troubles respecting, and then discuss that also. That's a very good thing, if one can do that. Or if nothing else, then one can approach someone who is close to that person and discuss with them, and try to see why one is having difficulties having a particular appropriate attitude. So that's why it's good that we live in association. Have someone to correct us, have someone to guide us, have someone to counsel us. It's very essential. Because like any other, as I said, really any other relationship, we lose the respect, it's not a relationship. You don't have a relationship. And you'll be alone in this overpopulated world. Because you won't be able to relate to anyone. That's not very good. That's hellish. So, but specifically, initially in the spiritual life, one has to have enormous respect. I know when I came and I started attending first programs or something, every devotee was like from Vaikuntha. And that was very good. And then you advance, like amazing. You just, like they say, quantum leap advancement, But later on, just kind of things, but then it becomes a problem. So one has to, again, build up that respect. One has to understand that everyone has a relationship with Krishna, and Krishna appreciates even simplest, whatever kind of service anyone is doing. So who are we to deny that service or minimize that service? We should understand how Krishna will be very, very unhappy, even though we may be doing, we may think that we are doing so much service. Maybe. Just like we always say that example, like Lord Ramachandra chastising Hanuman and say, why are you trying to chase away this, squirrel? He's doing 100% like you're doing. So what's your problem? Why are you, trying to chase it away? So he wasn't pleased with Hanuman at that point. So everyone's service should be appreciated. So that means, again, respecting everyone's position. Not trying to minimize, diminish. That's even worse. Presenting lesser than what it is. So we should work on that respect. Like I was talking about the relationship. Everyone is servant of Krishna. That's how we should see it. Maybe we may not understand this fully or appreciate it fully, better to say. But at least we should understand Krishna does. Krishna appreciates fully. So then next time we're dealing with someone, we should be very careful. Because then if you don't deal properly, then it means we are committing offenses. And that's going to affect our spiritual life. So being always respectful, meaning that performing always some service, serving, and having proper attitude. Should be very clear. Addressing, even if somebody is junior, still there should be respect. It just can't be just fully, casual dealings or something. No, that there should be respect. Even then it should be respect. So there are different levels of respect or types of respect. But respect should always be there. So what are the levels of respect? That's why we have junior, senior, it's like so many different levels are there. So that has to be understood. That's a part of dealing, that's a part of relationships. That's the art of Vedic culture. With everyone's position is very clear and how to act in such or within such positions. Then one can have wonderful exchanges. And then one can really very fast advance in spiritual life. So that's what we have to learn. That's a part of Vaishnava etiquette. So always respect. And then, like here, okay, then you can come to the point where you don't have to have any respect for Krishna. And you can be like coward boys in one, that's said in one sense, not having respect. Like we said at pastime, instead of rasgula, they put flour in Krishna's mouth and this and that. There are all kinds of jokes and, they have all kinds of things going on. But then you might say there's no respect. No, there is respect, but it's a whole different thing. It's some things done really with love, knowing that Krishna will be pleased with, but you have to know that this is pleasing to Krishna, even though it's some kind of joke going on. Because Krishna enjoys this. Krishna enjoys being chastised by Srimati Radharani. Krishna enjoys being chased by Mother Yashoda. Krishna enjoys, there's certain things Krishna enjoys being blasphemed by Jatila. That black snake, he's doing, Krishna is enjoying this. Krishna is enjoying all these pastimes. Because they're done with the certain love. That's something we cannot imitate. Of course, we should never imitate this. We can never come to that position of doing such kind of things, because then we will be very offensive. So, until we understand what are those dealings, and until we become fully purified and deal, and come to the level where we are dealing fully for Krishna's pleasure, then you can do some whatever Krishna wants to be done. That's a different thing. So this is why these pastimes are amazing. Amazing, so amazing, wonderful, wonderful pastimes. And this is one of the four qualities. Now we said something that it's different, that makes Krishna so different from Lord Narayana or Vishnu. Pastimes. It's pastimes, exchanges with devotees. That's something. It's not there in Vaikuntha. You won't find it. It's not there. And then this unique Krishna's mercy, specific Krishna's mercy, that he is displaying those pastimes even on our planet. In the material world, spiritual world reflected on the material world, in the material world. So anyway, keeping respect, always service, and understanding that one should be careful, otherwise he will destroy his own spiritual life. That's something one should never allow. Okay. Anything else? Yeah.
Prabhuji, you mentioned that it is given. So, Prabhuji, cannot develop bhakti by serving? So we actually beg Radharani and Lord Krishna to engage us in a service. So by serving also we cannot develop bhakti also.
We can develop bhakti by service. Bhakti is there, bhakti is dormant. By serving, we are nourishing that bhakti. And by getting mercy of Guru and Krishna and devotees, we are nourishing that bhakti more and more and more.
You mentioned that bhakti is given by Krishna.
Bhakti is given, and bhakti given means nourished. So bhakti already exists. We are already devotees. But now we don't know that. We are covered. Bhakti already is there. But there is no harm if you get more bhakti. No? If you get more nourishment to the bhakti that already exists. Okay?
One more thing.
Yeah.
You mentioned about that Vaikuntha Loka, that according to that bhaktas, this thing, the level of bhakti, the jiva reaches Vaikuntha Loka.
Yeah, they have 100%. In Vaikuntha, they have 100% of bhakti also.
No, my question is Prabhuji, that the ultimate goal for the jiva is goal of Vrindavan.
No, not for every jiva.
Okay.
Not for every jiva. That's why I said in Vaikuntha there is also 100% bhakti, but in certain dasa.
So by striving in Vaikuntha,
Prabhupada gives example. It's just like you have half a liter glass, you have 1 liter, you have 2 liters, whatever. If it's full, that's it's for 100%. It's perfect. Okay. Yes.
Coming to that respect point, as they said that we are all servants or subservient to Krishna, and we have to be humble and expecting respect is it like an excellence?
No, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said you should never expect. Never expect. Trinada
Yeah, so
Pisunichana.
that's what I'm saying, because we are subservient, we have to be humble.
Yeah, we should be humble, more tolerant than the tree. So that's not easy. But if one becomes as such, he's qualified to enter spiritual world. That's our that's our key. That's our swarupa. That's our goal. If you become like this, then you're immediately eligible to enter spiritual world. So that's not easy. Everyone is looking for some respect, recognition. No, everybody. And it's so difficult to keep on giving respect if you don't get any in return. That's the biggest challenge. That's the biggest challenge. So one has to know that, then one has to see what is the situation and what is going on. Of course, one should never be and dasa is in Vaikuntha, I said it. Yes.
Personal experience of Krishna.
Personal experience of
Krishna,
means,
own personal experience.
yeah, it's there in the temple. Just yesterday I had personal experience. Day before yesterday, I didn't want to do puja. I usually do puja. And I said, Krishna, you see, if you want me to do puja, then I'm not going to go. You do something, whatever you want. And just then, this pujari who is arranging said, "You coming today?" I said, "Oh, yeah." Because marathon is going on, we have other things to do. And then I looked at Krishna and said, "Oh, okay, so okay, I'll come." So I say like that, it happens. And then I did puja.
It's normal to feel like that. Some days you don't want to.
No, it's not because of that. It's just because there's some other priorities. So then I just said, okay, if you really want me today, okay, I'll do it. But you make the arrangement. I'm not going to put myself forward. I'm not going to say. And he said so, and he said, coming. And I didn't even think about that more. I just, the devotee came and he's in charge. He makes the schedule, and I said, you come. And then I looked, okay, that was it. It's like, Krishna immediately inspired them. So they had no choice. Okay, then we'll stop here. Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki